Good afternoon, my dear homeopathic friends. I know you are there to listen regarding a new topic in the field of homeopathy. Since long time we were discussing the biochemics, biocombinations, its practical use, and I have discussed and shared with you, all of you, the logic behind using the biochemics and biocombinations. That was a big issue nearly about 1 month. Since 1 month we were discussing regarding the biochemics and biocombinations. In the similar manner, we'll enter into another field of homeopathy. People says that this is not a homeopathy. You call it homeopathy, you cannot call it homeopathy depending upon your reasons behind that. But what I will suggest to you, I want to make homeopathy simple instead of making it difficult for you. Number of students never approaches homeopathy only because they find it very difficult. They find it very difficult to practice homeopathy, to gain the knowledge of homeopathy, and it has been shown by the number of stalwarts that it's not your work. It's only for the genius they can do homeopathy. And my suggestion is that it's so simple to go ahead with homeopathy. Once you start approaching homeopathy with the simple steps, definitely you're going to learn homeopathy in detail. And that's why my approach is rather different than rest of the homeopaths. Some people will agree with that, some will never. But I don't bother about that because I want to teach and make in students' mind that homeopathy is not difficult to practice. So we're going to discuss a different aspect today. Today I have not kept any queries regarding anything in today's session because today I want to introduce this different field. Number of people ask, is it homeopathy? Why are you prescribing Mother Tinctures in your practice? Hahnemann himself have tried dynamic potencies and you are going towards the Mother Tincture. Is it on the basis of homeopathic principle? Such questions are there in people's mind. But what I will going to tell you, Hahnemann till the 5th edition of Organ of Medicine, when published in 1833, he was using the Mother Tinctures in his practice. He was never came to the conclusion of a dynamics till he has introduced the concept of vital force and dynamics in the 5th edition. So he has also started homeopathic practice, or he has also found it out the experiment of a cinchona in 1790 only on the Mother Tincture. He has prepared the Mother Tincture over there and that he consumed, then finds it out that cinchona is definitely producing a malaria-like symptoms. Then he has given Mother Tincture to his patient who were suffering from malaria, again found the truth over there, and then he came to the conclusion or induction there might be some relationship. So law of similia developed with the help of Mother Tincture and not the dynamic preparation. So that was very important to be understood. Yes, Mother Tincture should be utilized with the help of law of similars, then you are using it on the homeopathic principle and then it is a homeopathy. So my suggestion to all of you is that yes, definitely Hahnemann concluded, or Hahnemann came to the conclusion of a dynamics in the homeopathy and dynamic potencies later on in his life. But even after Hahnemann, there are number of stalwarts who were using those Mother Tinctures in their practice. And even today also, number of homeopathic practitioners, they are using Mother Tinctures with success. My suggestion to all of you is that First, understand the concept behind them. Then you will gain the confidence. I am lucky enough that I have prepared certain students who have worked more than me, and yesterday Dr. Chandrakant, he sent me a list of mother tinctures which he has he himself have an article, and he has written n number of mother tinctures over there, but I am using very few of them in my practice. When I am thinking in a different direction. I used to think that I should handle any emergency. Even a patient is in a status asthmaticus, I am able to handle that case with the help of homeopathy. If a patient is in a status epilepticus, I am able to understand that condition. That is my aspect of looking toward the practice. I am not dealing only with the functional symptoms and functional problems, or only mental problems or psychological problems of the patient. Dealing with the pathology requires a confidence, and dealing with the pathologies requires understanding about all the aspects of the homeopathy. And that's why I used to consider this is one of the aspects one must learn and one must apply in their practice, see the results, bring out the patient out of the danger with the help of mother tinctures, and then you will get courage to treat a pathologist in your practice. I will not going to share all the mother tinctures. I will going to share which I used to use. I will not going to share if anyone is using any other mother tincture. I will not going to comment on it, because if I would have not utilized it, I don't have a right to say regarding that mother tincture. So I will going to discuss only few mother tinctures which found to be essential in my practice. So that is the first important thing I want to suggest you. Second important thing I want to discuss with you, I will not going to finish all mother tinctures which I am using in 1 or 2 days, not at all. In fact, my thought is that the way we have learned the biochemics and biocombination one by one, we are going to learn in the similar manner this series. So that while learning a single mother tincture, you will learn whole aspect of that specific condition, along with a therapeutics. How I used to consider a case of a epilepsy. Then I will tell you one mother tincture, and along with that mother tincture, I will suggest how I approaches in such types of cases. So it might be a one lecture for one mother tincture also happens, but that will guide you to learn the process how I used to use those in my practice, and that is what you have to learn. You don't have to learn, yes, this is Absinthium is the mother tincture for epilepsy, Blatta is the mother tincture from bronchitis. This is not this is not the application of it, in fact. And I am not utilizing in each and every case a mother tincture in this manner. I used to think before prescribing, before giving, that is whether it is really necessary to give a mother tincture. Whether patient is in such a grave condition that you have to bring him out, he requires a palliation for time being. That thought should be there, because that immediate action you can get with the mother tinctures, because they are mother tinctures, they are materials. They are the active principles of that drug. It is the mother tincture. We know that how the mother tinctures are prepared in pharmacy. I will not going to enter into that topic, but the active principles which are medicinal properties, if the plant is there, which part of that plant having a medicinal property, that is discussed in the pharmacy, and that from that specific part, a active principle is drawn out with the help of typical pharmacological processes, and we form the mother tinctures. So mother tincture, it is not as crude as the other pathies medicines. They are not crude, they are refined, and refined to form a certain active, which contains an active principle, and that active principle in our practice sometimes helps to bring the patient very early out of the danger. And that's why mother tinctures always acts under the primary action of the medicine. Keep it in mind that Mother Tinctures always produces a primary action in patient. When we prescribe dilutions, that is the dynamic remedies, they used to work in secondary action basically, because there is a reaction. It is only a stimulus when you are giving the dynamics. But here you are not giving dynamic. Here you are giving material. But on the basis, again when you are using it on the basis of symptom similarity. You are using the same principle in order to treat that specific condition. It is not like that you are just using it blindly. It's not so. And that's why very important thing in order to use the mother tinctures is to understand the concept behind that. And today I will going to teach you, or I will going to share with you only one mother tincture, that is the Absinthium. I don't know whether you have used this remedy or you are using this remedy or not, but Absinthium mother tincture is a very important part and parcel in my practice regarding handling the epileptic cases. So, epilepsy is a very important part in your homeopathic practice. They first ask you whether you have a treatment in homeopathy for epilepsy, and then you have to tell them, yes, homeopathy deals with epilepsy, and number of times homeopathy cures epilepsy. In other sciences, specifically old school treatment, epilepsy found to be generally not curable permanently. It remains under with the help of anti-epileptics, different varieties of anti-epileptics, and they first tells the patient that you have to continue your medicine for 3 years and then we taper, and very occasionally that medicine is tapered or removed in patients. Number of times it has been observed that it is continued for years together, because as soon as they remove it or they take it out, immediately epilepsy returns. So it itself suggests that it is palliative in mode, it is not curative in mode. So before entering into the Absinthium mother tincture, I want to first the epilepsy. What do you epilepsy? Epilepsy is a disorder in which there is a sudden spark in the electrical current inside the brain, and it reflects in the form of a muscular spasms, tonic-clonic actions, tonic-clonic convulsions, and you get a typical epileptic form convulsion over there. We generally never why it happens so, what are the different causes. If an epileptic patient is brought to us, it is not like that you give just directly a Absinthium mother tincture and that patient will be settled. It's not so. Why that fellow is having an epilepsy, the logic behind that you have to understand. If generally we are lucky enough that we get the investigated cases with total investigations already done, patient comes to you with MRI reports, with EEG, with other investigations done, and that's why you get a ready-made diagnosis number of times. But number of times even those are never showing anything. Everything is normal and still the patient is having an epilepsy. This is quite common. And in such types of cases, what should be your approach? So patient is already on anti-epileptics, who is taking number of anti-epileptics, and patient is still having epilepsy. And this happens in number of times. In my practice I have seen that those patient comes to you, they are already on 3 or 4 anti-epileptics and still they are getting the convulsions. How can it be? Because you are not treating the root cause, you are not understanding why this epilepsy is developed over there. The causes which are mentioned in the books are very limited, because it gives that either it might be a traumatic. It has been said that it might be a stress induced. It has been said that it might be because of anxiety. Sometimes it might be some brain pathology over there. Any infective pathology in the brain can lead to epilepsy. Sometimes it has been said that it might be because of worm appears in the brain and that used to produce epilepsy. It has been said over there the tumor which is arising in the brain able to produce epilepsy. Sometimes it might be a tubercular infection, tubercular encephalitis can lead to epilepsy, and the number of disorders which leads or which ultimately ends their pathology in the brain producing an epilepsy. Trauma itself is one of the reason patient can epilepsy. So it is not single reason, but number of reasons are mentioned, but these are limited, which are visible, which you can find it out with the help of investigation, that those are mentioned in the books. I will share one case. A young lady, she was just married a year back. She was brought to me, referred by a physician, and she had an epileptic attack 4 or 5 days back. And she was treated with antiepileptic, and all investigations were done. EEG was done, everything normal. Then again MRI was done, it was normal. And still the neurologist said that it was typical epilepsy. So as the patient has mentioned, so she should take antiepileptic at least for 3 years. A young beautiful girl who married just 1 year back, not having an issue, and suddenly all of a sudden first time got an epileptic attack. So in such types of cases, when you don't find it out a cause, still you give the antiepileptics. And do you know that how these antiepileptics cause the trouble? It produces generally they are either hepatotoxic or nephrotoxic, generally hepatotoxic. And that's why it has been actually advised in the books that when a patient goes on any antiepileptics, his liver profile should be done every 2 or 3 months. And no one asks the patient to do a liver profile because it costs a lot, and that it is also difficult for the patient to do it every time. So the remedies, which they know that they are very harmful, but that is the only solution in their hand to treat the epilepsy. So that lady, when referred by a physician, and she said that whether can you do anything in homeopathy for that patient. I don't want to directly keep that patient on antiepileptics. So let us try. If it recurs, then we'll start antiepileptics. So I took the history, and what she said during history, I asked whether you had any skin problem in the past, and she said, yes doctor, yes, 15 days back I had a severe fungal infection in my groin, and I have used that ketoconazole keto B cream that was prescribed by the skin specialist, and it healed. It was completely cured. Yes, being an homeopath, you know this is new cause of an epilepsy, which old school treatment allopaths never consider. It was clear cut that she has directly, her skin affection led to an epilepsy directly in the brain at the functional level first, without showing any pathological evidence over there. So in such cases you don't get any investigation positive. It is now difficult because it is functional, it is acute, and that's why you cannot get any specific investigation positive in your hand. But as being an homeopath, you understand this condition and you can prescribe for that patient. I took that case clearly, and clear-cut ginkgo met. I told the patient I will give you medicine, but I am quite sure within first 8 days you will going to get that skin eruptions again. And the same thing happened. After 8 days she came to me and she had again all those eruptions, but she never had a epileptic attack thereafter. It was happened 10 years back. So I have considered each and everything. Accordingly, I have started her on certain medicines, and she recovered from fungal infection also. And thereafter, in last 10 years, she never had a second attack of epilepsy. So these considered in allopathy. I have not given her Absinthium Mother Tincture because I was damn sure regarding the remedy in that case. I know that it is typically a dynamic disorder, and in that condition she was not in an agony where you will require a role or there is a role of a Mother Tincture. So there is no role of a Mother Tincture in such types of cases. If she is brought to you in epileptic form convulsions and her convulsion is not getting settled, it is occurring daily and it is typical epileptic form, and she goes into typical opisthotonous conditions or cramps in the extremities, or she might develop a typical tongue bite or typical involuntary urination, sometimes vomiting, sometimes unconsciousness for some time after epilepsy. These conditions, if happens and she is in acute phase or recurrence phase, then you can think about the Mother Tincture. Then there is a role of a Mother Tincture. But you have a patient who doesn't have such thing, and patient is directly coming to you giving a details, and you get in the history that such and such. So the first important thing, whether to use Mother Tincture or not, that you have to decide. Don't make it fixed in your mind. Sir has told Absinthium Mother Tincture for epilepsy and you are giving Mother Tincture for years together. Then it never becomes a homeopathy. It is in the for the purpose of an early effect in case epilepticus or recurrent convulsions, to tackle that and reduce the dose of anticonvulsants, tapering anticonvulsants day by day. Absinthium is useful in such types of cases. You can bring that patient with the help of an Absinthium. You can remove the anticonvulsants day by day and patient comes out completely. I have shared one case with you already while explaining something, that a case of a SSPE, subserosal panencephalitis, and that child who was on nearly about 4 or 5 anti-epileptics without absolutely in a condition of a comatose state, and brought out with the same remedy, Zincum metallicum. But during that, removing those, gradually tapering those anti-epileptics, I used to remove it every 2-3 months, half of the dose of one tablet. It took nearly about 2 years to completely stop the anti-epileptics in that patient. So tapering an anti-epileptic is very important. If a patient is on any epileptic phase, you have to, on anti-epileptic, you have to gradually taper. So gradually that patient, the drug effect or drug withdrawal should not happen. All those drugs are generally drugs, and that's why they have their blood level over there. And because of blood level, whenever you start reducing it, a palliative effect disappears and patient again goes into such a state. So tapering it very gradually is very, very important in such types of cases. Second important thing which I want to discuss about this now, that if you are thinking, I used to consider that in what way the patient is brought to me. About just 6 months back, a patient was brought to me and he has told clearly that he started getting convulsions since last 2 years back, and 2 years back he had an history of a head injury, and after that head injury he started getting an epilepsy. But after head injury, scan was done, scan was normal, there was only a cerebral concussion, there was not a cerebral hemorrhage, not even ischemia, it was just a concussion, and thereafter he started getting convulsions. So in that case, patient who already on a lot of anticonvulsants, but still he was getting the convulsions. Anti-epileptics number of times never works. Even patient consumes it regularly, sometimes they get convulsions one of the day. And in such types of cases, you have to think, yes, you have mentioned the remedy, that natrum self. Yes, I have given the same remedy to the patient. But natrum self, I have given few doses along with arnica also as an acute remedy. In arnica, there is one sentence that chronic effects of a long-standing injury, even presenting today, are tackled with the arnica. So I have given that specifically in that patient. And to reduce his antiepileptics day by day, I have started him on absinthium. Absinthium was given gradually within span of 2 months only. I was able to reduce his antiepileptics. He never had convulsions. Then absinthium was tapered gradually and patient recovered out, or he came out of that situation and have no more convulsions after starting the treatment. So you have to understand what may be the pathophysiology in that case, what may be the cause in that case, and accordingly you have to utilize your remedy. Absinthium is the remedy for such types of epileptiform futures. I told you that you open your boric. Yes, if you have opened the borics and first few sentences which deal or which explains the absinthium very clear cut. The first important sentence, the perfect epileptiform seizure is produced by this drug. Nervous tremors precede attack. See, this is how the stages of epilepsy. In epilepsy, there are 4 specific stages. First is it is called as prodromal stage. Second stage, which is called as the early ictal stage, that is an aura. Then actually ictal stage, and then that is a convulsive stage, and post-ictal stage. There are 4 stages. Prodromal phase, that patient starts feeling that something is wrong, and then it converts into aura. So tremors becomes an aura in case of absinthium. See, every remedy, when you learn it by heart, then you will understand when to use the absinthium. Every patient presents it in a different manner. So you have to understand in what way it comes. In case of absinthium, aura is nervous tremors. This is too important to understand. So nervous tremors precede the attack. There is sudden and severe giddiness, delirium with hallucinations and loss of consciousness. So patient goes into a delusion state, hallucination stage during that phases, and suddenly got an epileptic attacks. It is epileptiform. Epileptiform means there are different types of seizures, different types of convulsions. Basically, they are either called as absent seizures, which was earlier labeled as a petit mal epilepsy. Now they called it by the name of absent seizures. What happens in absent seizures? Patient who was talking to you, all of a suddenly he goes blank somehow, and he never understands what is happening, and suddenly again gain the consciousness, and in between period, within few seconds, within few minutes, he becomes absolutely unaware about the surrounding, is absent seizure. Previously it was labeled by the name of petit mal epilepsy. Then second important is that a grand mal, that was again an old name for the seizures, grand mal epilepsy. When we learned this was the classification, now it is not called as a grand mal, it is called as a tonic-clonic convulsions. So there are both the things that muscle goes into spasm, then spasm, the tonic-clonic convulsions, that is grand mal epilepsy. These tonic-clonic convulsions, that is epileptiform convulsions. That type of convulsions are there, then you think about this remedy. So absinthium is specifically in epileptiform convulsions. When you get an abscess seizures or a petit mal epilepsy, your remedy is Artemisia vulgaris. Think about it. This is too important to understand, and that's why reading a sentence and understanding it while reading is very important issue. Then you can recollect in which types of patients you have to use that. So if the patient you get that he goes into absence all of a sudden and brings it again to the consciousness, it has been mentioned in Artemisia vulgaris. Yes, this is absence seizures or petit mal epilepsy. You can get over there in Artemisia. So that is second sentence. Then what he says, nervous excitement and sleeplessness happens in the children. Children specifically, when you get the children's epilepsy, this remedy plays a very vital role. So this is nervousness, nervous excitement. They are quite excitable and they are absolutely restless, sleepless. He goes here and there, and they are the patients who used to suffer from epilepsy from convulsion. Then cerebral irritation, hysterical and infantile spasms comes within the range of this remedy. Infantile spasms. See, if number of times it happens that newborn infant having a spasm over there and they label it as a convulsion. Then they go for sugar levels. Sometimes it forms hypoglycemic and they give the glucose. But along with that, they add the anti-epileptics to that infant who is just newborn or a day or two, and they start anticonvulsion. In such types of cases, this remedy is very important remedy if it is not because of the hypoglycemia. Then what he says, there is one more feature regarding it, chorea, involuntary movement of the, specifically involuntary movement of any specific organ, any specific part is the chorea, and it is again a brain irritation. Tremors, nervousness, excitement and sleeplessness in children, that is the remedy for the epileptic form convulsion. Epilepsy specifically producing a paralytic symptom sometimes in absinthium. So this mother tincture you can utilize in cases where the patient is in status epilepticus and he suffers a lot with atypical epileptic form convulsions, and if he is already on the anti-epileptics, you add this mother tincture, gradually start reducing your, then you withdraw that. So this is first mother tincture I want to discuss with you, and now we'll learn in this direction. Just now I have told you that Artemisia vulgaris. Yes, I think that remedy is also there in the relationship over there in absinthium. This comparison one should not forget. Artemisia vulgaris, you open the drug in your book, that Artemisia vulgaris, and just see what he has written over there. Very typical. I love this Borik's book because he gives very typical clinical presentation of it. See, has some reputation as a remedy in epileptic conditions and convulsive diseases of childhood and in girls at puberty. Underline this, girls, specifically in children and girls at puberty. So changes which happens to be there at the puberty age and producing a epilepsy, that might be Artemisia vulgaris. Petit mal, it is given in italics over there. Epilepsy without aura. See, there was an aura, here there is no aura. Patient goes into absence and comes again to the situation. This you have to understand, that this Artemisia will going to work in such types of patient. After epilepsy without aura, after fright and other violent emotions, and even after masturbation. See, very important things. Why at puberty? This is the puberty age. This leads to changes in the hormones, used to go get, ultimately ending in convulsion or ending in this disorder. Several convulsions close together. See, Artemisia vulgaris, what he is explaining, several convulsions comes together. There is again a sleeplessness, somnambulism, that walks during sleep, gets up at night and works, remembers nothing in the morning, like a caliphosphoricum. This is very typical. It itself suggests that they are having a brain. The epilepsy is there, irritation, cerebral irritation and forgetfulness, which is quite common with this epilepsy. So this is second remedy one should not forget in cases of epilepsy. And there is one important thing, just read the head part. Head is drawn back by spasmodic twitching, mouth drawn to the left, and congestion of the brain, hydrocephalus. So head drawn to back, म्हणजे काय? This is it goes to left, on video you can look it on right because it is mirror image, but I am turning it to the left, and this is like that, and convulsion is like that. This switching, can you get? This is very typical. He has mentioned, yes, this patient, you have to observe how the head is drawn back. When you start thinking in this direction, then it is possible to find it out very easily. Yes, this remedy, very good remedy in petit mal epilepsy, at the puberty, in the children, and in absent seizures, or in petit mal epilepsy. You can think of this remedy. Ultimately, what you have to think, you have to understand the patient wholly. And you should be very clinically thorough enough. Whatever given in the book, don't read that just as it is. Every sentence, असं पक्क साठवायचं. It should be fixed in your mind. Understand it so nicely that you cannot forget while using that. Every remedy has its typical presentations. If cicuta we used to take, cicuta is having different presentation. You must understand that, and if to understand that, if you are able to watch that, your remedy is fixed. So, mother tincture, giving a mother tincture is not an important entity. So, giving a mother tincture, it's too simple to give absinthium, but that will not cure your patient. Here you have to understand the epilepsy, and for that purpose you have to understand general medicine in detail. If you are able to understand this general medicine then you are able to come to the conclusion of a remedy very easily. There are now classification wise, there are only clonic epilepsy, there are sometimes tonic seizures, there might be a myoclonic seizures, different types it has been classified. And that also we have to understand. When we are learning that, we have to understand, and we have to correlate it with our repertory, or we have to correlate it with our Borik's Materia Medica. And I am saying that Borik because he is really a clinician, and that's why in his Materia Medica as well as in his repertory, you will find number of pathological or clinical conditions. So you have to understand disease very nicely. We'll take one more example while learning this epilepsy. We'll go with the cicuta, that is very important remedy in this case. Just read a cicuta, we'll understand cicuta, and then we'll go with another remedy. These are few examples I am discussing because you have to understand how I used to enter into the case. This is my way of going into the case. I used to understand that epilepsy, and then you decide whether to give a mother tincture or whether to give a remedy. So this you have to understand clearly. See, cicuta, it is water hemlock. It's again a plant remedy. What he says in the first sentence, Borik's first sentence defines the action where the remedy acts. पाठ करायचं डोक्यात, पक्क 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 पुन्हा 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 भरायचं. It is too important to feed that in your mind. It should be fixed. The action on the nervous system, spasmodic affections, vice versa, the hiccup, the trismus, the tetanus and convulsions gives the pathological picture calling for this remedy whenever this is further characterized by the more individual symptoms of the drug. Among these are the bending of the head, neck, spine backwards, and general action of the patient is violent with frightful distortions. See, this is a convulsion of this remedy. What type of convulsion? Typical opisthotonous condition. म्हणजे काय? Head is drawn back, body is drawn back, it looks like a tetanus completely. Patient is going into spasm like a tetanus, and he is absolutely like this. And if you find it out in the patient, if your patient is brought to you with such condition, or if you think that you are asked to treat a case in the hospital, being an homeopath, and you have get a chance and you are observing that patient is going in such types of epileptiform convulsions, and that is typical opisthotonus. Simple remedy, directly you can give the cicuta. So that you have to understand clearly. That is what is an observation which should be there. See, head, it has been given very nicely in the cicuta. What he says, head turned and twisted to one side. So when it happens like that, head is turned to either one side and it was twisted. Cerebrospinal meningitis, see, directly a diagnosis. So this is called as a central seizure. The cause is inside, the cause is at the brain level, and it is because of meningitis. It might be because of encephalitis also. You get such types of convulsions. The remedy you have to think that is the cicuta in such type. It depends again on the characteristics of it. It is not like that if it is because of brain affections you give the cicuta. It is not like that. The convulsion should be like a specific opisthotonus like condition, or head is completely drawn to one side. See what he says, cervical muscles are contracted. See what is happening, these muscles are getting contracted, it gets contracted totally. That spasm is of a cicuta spasm. Then there is a vertigo with gastralgia or muscular spasm. The sudden violent shocks through the head, patient comes and there are a lot of shocks and patient goes into the spasm. This is a very typical aura which you can get. So convulsions from concussion of brain, cerebral concussion. Concussion मध्ये काय होतं? This is very important. Concussion, there is an head injury, there is just a jerk, and jerk is responsible to produce a convulsion without causing directly a damage over there. But that jerk is so strong, can be able to produce an epilepsy. The symptoms and extremities, spasms and cramps in the muscles of nape of neck, spasmodic drawing of the head backward, curved limbs cannot be straightened nor straight ones, bent backwards like an arch, opisthotonus, jerking, tearing in coccyx, especially during men. So there is a very, very typical like this convulsion happens to be there, head goes back, total opisthotonus condition. That convulsion is of a cicuta convulsion. So you understand this epilepsy. If you want to go into epilepsy, just go into the epilepsy, understand epilepsy from the medicine, learn that completely, and then read your Materia Medica. And how to read Materia Medica? Go, if you have read the cicuta, find it out what is given in the relationship, which are the remedies given in the relationship. Then you will find that there is one more derivative of the cicuta virosa we used to use, but there is one more cicuta maculata, which is a variative which is also useful for convulsive epilepsy, that is mentioned over there. Then there are hydrocyanic acid, the conconium, the strychnine, the belladonna. These are the remedies which are mentioned. There are multiple remedies in homeopathy. Multiple. There is not a single remedy. Ultimately, we have to understand the remedy on the basis of clinical presentation, on the basis of state of the patient, on the basis of your own perceiving regarding the patient, on the basis of causation in that patient. So you have to take into consideration while considering the remedy the every aspect when you are dealing with such a neurological disorder. It's not simple to prescribe a single mother tincture, and that's why I suggest to depend only on mother tinctures. Yes, mother tinctures are your one of the weapons in cases of emergencies, but at that time also that should be on the basis of symptom similarity. It is not directly keeping in mind that this is the remedy or this is the mother tincture for such and such condition. It's not so. One more remedy, hydrocyanic acid is there. Yes, I have used hydrocyanic acid. Open the hydrocyanic acid. It might be new for number of students, but open that hydrocyanic acid. And I have utilized it with very successful result in one of my close relative. And she had a typical convulsive history, and she has covered with the help of this remedy. She had convulsions even during pregnancy, and that were covered with the help of this remedy. If you open that hydrocyanuric acid, you will find that it is a prussic acid. It is hydrocyanuric acid. See what is written over there by Boric. One of the most toxic agents known, convulsions and paralysis, hemiplegia, expresses the action of this remedy. Spasmodic constriction in the larynx, feeling of a suffocation, pain and tightness in the chest, palpitation, pulse is weak, irregular, sinking sensation in abdomen, hysterical and epileptic convulsions. Underline this. Hysterical and epileptic convulsions. So, what is hysterical spasm or hysterical? That certain, it happens at the level of functional entity. Something has happened in the home, and all of a sudden patient goes into the state of this spasm, and this expresses in the form of a epilepsy, a tonic-clonic convulsions, and expressing out completely in this form is typical of a epileptiform convulsions, which looks because of which is hysterical, because it happens because of some quarrels in the home, because of something, someone said something to the patient. On the basis of that, if it happens, that is the hysterical convulsions. Cyanosis is very important over there in this remedy, because there is a spasm of the larynx and total obstruction of a trachea, which happens in hydrocyanuric acid. So convulsions associated with laryngeal spasm, convulsions, hysterical convulsions producing very severe constriction over here, associated with a cyanosis, breathing difficulty, is a typical of hydrocyanuric acid. I have prescribed hydrocyanuric acid on the basis of that even during pregnancy for that lady, and it works immediately. Patient was very clearly out of the convulsive phase, and it works. I have given 36, 300 and 1 m later on, and that patient recovered completely. So here you have to consider remedies one by one according to it. There are multiple remedies in your Materia Medica, but you have to understand the convulsion of each and every remedy separately. If you have ethusacin, it has very typical clenched thumb with a typical spasm. That every sentence keep fixed in your mind. Think over it, how the child will present that, and if you make it habit of using or learning that sentence in that way, then definitely it reflects in front of your mind whenever you watch similar condition. This happens only when you read it again and again. Boric's Materia Medica, I know that I have read it n number of times, because I used to teach every time to the students. I always say, yes, read the Boric's Materia Medica. And I used to read along with them every time. Every time I get something new from that book. So all those students who sit with me, whenever I start them, yes, open this remedy and we'll read that. That made a habit that it remains fixed in my mind, and I'm able to come to the conclusion very early, because I have perceived that Materia Medica in that way. So today we have discussed only one mother tincture, Absinthium. Go to your home, find it out, read, make notes of it, find it out. Epilepsy, you give the name epilepsy. Then one first remedy, Absinthium. Mother tincture, you can give 15 drops, 10 drops depending upon requirement, in a half cup of water, BD, TDS depending upon situation. And then try to write down different remedies of a convulsions, and every sentence regarding the convulsions from the Boric's Materia Medica, and prepare your own notes. Those notes will helpful for you forever. I have written, it is there with me, but it was not possible to find to do it on PowerPoint with the Facebook, and that's why I have not presented those. But this is a homework for all of you, so that you can learn epilepsy in detail. And again a request to all of you, go through the Davidson's book, read the epilepsy from it in detail so that you will understand epilepsy and you can treat that. So that's all for today, because I have one more appointment at 3:30. It is not possible to continue now. We'll meet tomorrow at the same time with another Mother Tincture. Till that period, homework for all of you: prepare epilepsy and notes for epilepsy, and read Absinthium from the Books Materia Medica again. Thank you being there daily at the same time. My suggestion to all of you, whoever homeopathic students are there in your contact, ask them to join the session, or ask them at least to subscribe our YouTube channel, so that they can learn all those things right from the start. During a learning phase, if you get that, then you will become a good homeopath in future. So for all your friends, tell them regarding this moment of homeopathic education, and ask them to subscribe channel and read those, watch those videos again and again, so that you can get a confidence to prescribe the remedy. So thank you being there. Thanks everyone who was there, and we'll meet tomorrow at the same time. Thank you.